Rule number 1, become a magnet, not a chaser. Imagine two men in a room full of people. One of them runs around trying to get attention. He tells jokes, shows off his expensive watch, interrupts conversations. He wants to be noticed. The other man sits, quietly. He observes calmly. He speaks little, but with depth. And curiously, it is this second man who attracts the most intense looks, the most discreet smiles, and the most authentic conversations. Why? Because the second man is not trying to conquer. He is just being. He has become a magnet, and that is what this first rule is about. Stop chasing and start attracting. We live in a culture that has taught men to be full-time chasers. From an early age, we hear phrases like, you have to chase, you have to show interest. If you don't try, someone else will. But this approach in practice generates anxiety, rejection, and frustration. Because when you chase someone uncontrollably, you communicate something very dangerous, that you are willing to give up your dignity for a little attention. And that, my friend, is the opposite of attraction. A magnet, on the other hand, attracts by presence. It doesn't beg, convince, or force. It exists so authentically that it naturally becomes interesting. And how do you become a magnet? By working on 3 pillars: presence, purpose, and high standards. Presence is your ability to be in the here and now with intensity. Have you noticed how anxious people have difficulty maintaining eye contact? How they talk quickly, gesticulate too much, change the subject without going into depth? Presence requires inner silence. It means looking into someone's eyes firmly, listening attentively, speaking with conviction, and knowing when to say nothing. Women feel this. Presence conveys strength. A man who is present is like an emotional anchor, firm, stable, secure. The second pillar is purpose. Nothing is more magnetic than a man who knows where he is going. Purpose is not just about career or money. It's about a life mission. It's about living with intention. A man with purpose doesn't get lost in neediness. He doesn't send 10 messages in a row to someone who ignores him. He's busy building something bigger than himself. And that naturally attracts those who want to walk alongside someone with direction. The third pillar is high standards. And this is perhaps the most neglected. Having high standards means not accepting less than you deserve from yourself or others. It means taking care of your body not out of vanity, but out of respect. It means choosing your friends, your routine, your habits well. A man with high standards doesn't contaminate himself with toxic environments. He makes himself scarce. And everything that is scarce is valuable. These 3 pillars create an energy field that cannot be ignored. You walk into a room and you don't have to say anything. People feel it, and women especially feel it intuitively. They don't know exactly why, but they feel intrigued, attracted, curious, because you're not offering attention. You're offering presence. You're not offering promises. He is offering direction. He is not offering neediness. He is offering value. Another fundamental point is emotional non-reactivity. The hunter reacts to everything. He gets upset when a visa goes unanswered. He changes his tone of voice when he feels rejected. He tries to compensate with exaggerated gestures. The magnet, on the other hand, is stable. If she didn't respond, that's fine. If she showed disinterest, that's fine too. Because he's not there to prove anything. He knows his own worth. And this stability is incredibly seductive. Being a magnet doesn't mean being passive. It's not about waiting for everything to fall from the sky. It means acting with intention, not desperation. It means choosing where to invest your energy. It means observing, feeling, connecting, and when it makes sense, approaching with respect and never with need. And perhaps most importantly, the magnet never loses his essence for anyone. He doesn't change his personality to please. He doesn't fake interests. He doesn't hide behind masks. And that's precisely why he stands out in a world full of noisy copies. Winning over the girl of your dreams starts with becoming the kind of man she never imagined existed. A man who doesn't beg for love. He inspires love. A man who doesn't demand attention. He exudes presence. A man who doesn't chase. He naturally attracts simply because he has built a gravitational field based on authenticity, purpose, and personal power. This is the first rule, and perhaps the hardest to master, because it requires you to set aside everything you've learned about conquest and start looking within. Start becoming. Start magnetizing. And remember, the more you become a magnet, the less you have to prove anything to anyone. The world starts to notice you simply because you noticed yourself first. Rule number 2. Master the inner game before the outer game. You can have the best haircut, the most stylish clothes, the latest car, the most toned body, and still be rejected, ignored, left aside. Because no matter how much your external appearance attracts attention at first, it is your inner world that determines whether you will be remembered or forgotten. The mistake 90% of men make is precisely here. They believe that winning over a woman depends on external improvements. So they invest in gyms, expensive clothes, learn catchphrases, memorize seduction techniques. But they forget the main thing. The game is internal. It always has been. It always will be. Mastering the inner game means diving into yourself. It means facing your shadows, healing your wounds, dismantling the limiting beliefs that sabotage your self-esteem every day. It means understanding, in a brutally honest way, that as long as you don't feel worthy of love, you will sabotage every real opportunity that comes your way. Let's be blunt, you only attract what you believe you deserve. If you feel deep down that you're not good enough for that woman, your energy will show it. No matter how polished your speech is, your body will speak for you, in your insecure gaze, in your restrained gestures, in your pauses that are too long. Her subconscious will pick up on your doubt, and doubt kills attraction. That's why the first step in the internal game is to identify what stories you're telling yourself. Those silent phrases that come to you when you see a woman you're attracted to. She would never look at me. She must like richer guys. I'm not her type. She'll laugh at me if I start a conversation. These stories are like distorted filters of reality. They are mental programming that you've absorbed throughout your life, from childhood, from past relationships, from unresolved traumas, and until you reframe these narratives, they will continue to operate behind the scenes of your life. How can you change this? With self-analysis, intentional action, and emotional reprogramming. Start by asking yourself every time a sabotaging thought arises, is this a fact or a long-held belief? Then challenge that belief with counterfactual facts. I'm not her type. Maybe she's never met anyone like you. Should she prefer rich guys? Maybe she values emotional intelligence, integrity, authenticity. In addition, work on your self-image every day. This doesn't mean looking in the mirror and repeating positive phrases by rote. It means acting as if you are already the man you want to be. Think, how does this man walk? How does he talk? How does he react to silence, rejection, praise? Act based on this ideal version of yourself until it becomes second nature. Another powerful key is emotional consistency. Men who have mastered their inner game don't waver at any external stimulus. They don't crumble over an unanswered text. They don't beg for validation. They are their own center of gravity. When something or someone tries to destabilize them, they breathe, reflect, and respond intelligently, never impulsively. This emotional balance is perceived in a subtle way. Women sense when a man is at peace with himself. This conveys confidence. It conveys security. It conveys the feeling that being by his side is like being at home. And this is one of the most seductive feelings there is. It's also worth highlighting the role of mental health in this journey. Meditation, therapy, reading, practicing gratitude, regular sleep, balanced diet. All of this has a direct impact on your emotional state. A man who takes care of his own mind becomes clearer, more centered, more magnetic. And of course, we cannot forget the impact of your internal dialogue. If you call yourself stupid, ugly, weak, or useless, even in a joking tone, you are feeding your mind with poison. Change that. Become your biggest cheerleader. Not with arrogance, but with compassion. Talk to yourself as you would talk to a younger brother who is learning to live. Mastering your inner game is not about eliminating fear. It's about learning to dance with it. It's about recognizing your vulnerability without hiding. It's about falling and getting up with more wisdom. It's about knowing that you don't have to be perfect to be amazing. You have to be real, present, whole. And remember, the woman of your dreams isn't looking for a socially perfect robot. She's looking for someone she can feel with. Someone who conveys security, but who is also capable of feeling emotion. Someone who is clear about their own value, and therefore doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. When you master your inner world, everything around you changes. You become more selective, calmer, more magnetic, and attraction stops being an effort and becomes a reflex. It's not about changing for her. It's about awakening for you. Rule number 3, communication that creates authentic connection. Have you ever stopped to think about how many conversations are completely forgettable? How many words are thrown to the wind, ready-made phrases, forced smiles, empty interactions? And worse, how many men think they are being interesting, when in fact they are just acting a role? In the art of true seduction, there is a skill more powerful than physical appearance, more impactful than social status, and more magnetic than any catchphrase: authentic communication. And here is the harsh truth. Most men do not know how to communicate. They try to impress, to seem intelligent, to win over with repetitive compliments or forced jokes. But all of this sounds like a performance. It sounds like something practiced, rehearsed. And women notice this instinctively, because the communication that truly attracts does not come from the head. It comes from the heart. Let's pause and reflect. Think about someone who made a deep impression on you. It could have been on a date, a quick conversation, or even an exchange of glances. Now try to remember what that person said. It's hard, right? But you probably remember how you felt at that moment. That's what matters. Words disappear. Emotion remains. That's why true communication is the kind that touches, that penetrates beyond the superficial, that makes the person not only hear, but feel. And how is that possible? With an authenticity, active listening, and emotional presence. Let's start with authenticity. Being authentic doesn't mean spilling everything you think without a filter. It means aligning your words with your truth. It's having the courage to say what you really think, even if it goes against their expectations. It's taking a stand. It's saying no firmly when necessary. Men who say what others want to hear are common. Men who say what they believe with respect are rare. Authenticity is also in the tone of voice, the pace of speech, and body language. A confident man doesn't speak quickly. He has time. He knows that his silence is worth as much as his words. He listens, he observes, he feels the environment. And that's why your words carry weight. They're not thrown out there. They're planted. Now let's talk about active listening. In a world where everyone wants to talk, those who truly listen become valuable. Active listening isn't just about staying silent while the other person talks. It's about showing genuine interest. It's about asking in-depth questions. It's about repeating in a light-hearted way what she said, showing that you've absorbed it. For example, she says she likes to travel alone. You don't just respond with, "Really? That's great." You go further. "And what do you usually look for when you travel alone? Peace, adventure, or self-knowledge?" This type of question creates connection. It makes her feel seen, heard, valued. And when a woman feels this way, attraction is born. But none of this works if you're not present. And being present isn't just about being physically there. It's about giving your full attention. without thinking about the next sentence, without worrying about whether or not you're doing well, without checking your cell phone. Being present is being whole. It's showing that in that moment, nothing else matters besides that exchange. And this is rare, very rare, and precisely for this reason, it is powerful. Another fundamental aspect of impactful communication is well-measured vulnerability. Many men confuse vulnerability with fragility. They think they will seem weak if they show their insecurities, fears, or doubts, but it is exactly the opposite. Showing your humanity is what makes you trustworthy. It is what allows her to truly connect with you. Of course, it is not about turning the meeting into a therapy session. It is about being real. For example, talking about how you have felt lost at some point in your life and how that has changed you. This creates empathy, it generates mirrors, it humanizes. And women fall in love with humans, not social robots. Finally, we need to talk about lightness and intelligent humor. And not the rehearsed humor, recycled jokes or social media memes, but the natural humor that arises when you are comfortable with yourself, laughing at banal situations, at your own flaws, at embarrassing moments in the day. This breaks the tension. It creates a sense of security. It shows that you don't have to prove anything, and that's why you're trustworthy. Important. Lightness is not superficiality. A conversation can alternate between profound moments and spontaneous laughter. This creates an emotional dance, a rich exchange, a memorable encounter. The sum of all this is simple, yet profound. The communication that attracts is the one that touches, the one that doesn't seek to impress, but to express, the one that doesn't try to appear, but allows itself to be. If you learn to communicate with truth, listening, and presence, you will stop being just another person, and you will become the one she never forgot. Rule number 4. Cultivate an irresistible lifestyle. Perhaps the most overlooked question asked by those seeking to win someone over is, why would this person want to be a part of my life? It's a brutal question, but an essential one, because while most people are busy trying to seem interesting, truly magnetic men are busy living interesting lives. The fourth rule isn't about impressing, it's about inspiring. And that's done by cultivating a lifestyle that not only reflects your desires, but is, in and of itself, an invitation. A silent call to those who watch you from afar and wonder, what is it about this guy that makes him live like this? An irresistible lifestyle doesn't happen by accident. It's intentional. It's built on decisions that reflect who you are, where you want to go, and what your values are. And it has nothing to do with wealth. It's about wealth of purpose. An empty life with an expensive car is still empty, but a life with purpose, even if simple, becomes fascinating in the eyes of those who see with their hearts. Think about the elements that make up your routine. How do you start your day? With haste and distraction, or with intention and clarity? Do you consume content that feeds your mind or drains your energy? Do you have hobbies that excite you? Or do you just survive from Monday to Friday, waiting for the weekend? Women, especially emotionally mature women, are attracted to men who are on the move, not in the sense of agitation, but of growth. Men who study, who evolve, who learn new skills, who seek new experiences, who face challenges head-on, who have stories to tell, not because they memorized, but because they lived. And here's the key point. An irresistible lifestyle is one that you don't need to edit to post. It's naturally captivating. The photos you post are a reflection, not a montage. The places you go, the people you meet, the projects you work on. All of this comes from a true flow, not from an attempt to impress someone. But how do you build this lifestyle in practice? Start by asking yourself 3 powerful questions. 1. What truly excites me, even when no one is looking? 2. What kind of man am I proud to be when I'm alone? 3. What kind of experiences do I want to provide for myself and for those who walk alongside me? These questions take you out of superficiality. They force you to look within. And when you start to align your daily choices with these answers, something changes. You start to live with a sparkle in your eyes, and this sparkle is noticeable. It can't be faked. It emanates. Another important aspect is time and priority management. Men who have a rich life know how to say no. They know how to filter invitations, relationships, and distractions. They are not available all the time, not out of arrogance, but out of clarity. They know that time is the most valuable asset, and that makes them scarce, and everything that is scarce is desired. And yes, this also includes taking care of your body, your appearance, your energy. It's not about vanity, it's about self-respect. A man who eats well, who works out, who sleeps properly, who dresses authentically, communicates without words that he loves himself. And self-love is sexy, it's magnetic. It's a mirror so that others also want to take care of themselves. It's worth remembering that an irresistible lifestyle also includes your interpersonal relationships. And BTC, who do you hang out with? What kind of conversations do you have? What kind of energy do you share? Environments shape behaviors, and if you want to live an elevated life, you need to hang out with someone who lifts you up. And finally, include conscious solitude in your lifestyle. Learn to enjoy your own company, to go out alone, to have coffee with yourself, to travel without depending on company. A man who knows how to be alone without feeling lonely becomes incredibly strong. And this strength attracts, because it conveys emotional independence, and emotional independence is the cradle of true connection. The man who cultivates an irresistible lifestyle doesn't need to convince anyone to like him. He simply lives so truly, so intensely, and so fully that whoever meets him feels like staying, because being close to him is being close to life in its raw state. And that is rare, and everything that is rare is remembered. So before trying to make her want to be with you, build a life that makes you want to be with yourself, because true love starts there, with the love of your own journey. Rule number 5, be unforgettable for the way you make her feel. Have you ever stopped to think why some people remain alive in our memory, even after time has passed? Why do certain encounters, sometimes brief, leave such deep marks, while others, long and constant, fade away like dust in the wind? The answer lies in a simple but powerful truth. People forget what you said, they forget what you did, but they never forget how you made them feel. A deal. And that is the 5th rule, and perhaps the most definitive, for attracting and keeping the girl of your dreams. Learn to be unforgettable for the emotion you provoke. Because at the end of the day, women don't connect with achievements, with status, with aesthetics. They connect with emotions, with sensations, with the experience you provide them. But be careful. We are not talking about creating an artificial experience. It's not about creating theatrical moments or trying to seem like the sensitive guy. That would be performance. We're talking about real sensitivity, understanding what she feels, how she feels it, and how to connect with that without losing your authenticity. Being unforgettable starts with a basic principle: being emotionally available. This means that you are able to connect with the present, feel what is happening in the exchange, and not run away from it. Many men make mistakes here. They are physically present, but emotionally absent. They are afraid to show emotion, to make themselves vulnerable, to let their masks fall. But here's the secret. Men who can access and embrace their own emotions are the ones who most easily awaken the emotions of others. And that is what creates a bond. That is what transforms a simple encounter into an eternal memory. Let's talk about something subtle but transformative: the power of the gaze. Not the invasive gaze, not the judgmental gaze, but the gaze of full presence. When you look into her eyes with silent attention, with acceptance, with depth, she feels it. It's as if for a moment time stops. And this feeling is extremely rare. It is emotional gold. In addition to the look in your eyes, the way you listen changes everything. Listening is not waiting for your turn to speak. It is diving into her universe without rushing. It is capturing nuances. It is noticing the tone of her voice, what was said, what was avoided. It is validating, not with cliches like "I understand," but with reactions that show that you really felt what she shared. And do you know what happens when you really listen? She feels safe, and an emotionally secure woman opens up, and when she opens up, she clings, not to what you have, but to who you are. But it is not enough to welcome. You also need to provoke. That's right. Being unforgettable is knowing how to balance comfort with challenge. Women do not fall in love only with those who understand them, but with those who elevate them. An unforgettable man is the one who looks her in the eyes and says, firmly and sweetly, "I see everything you are, and everything you can still be." This balance between security and provocation is what ignites desire. It's what takes a relationship out of its routine. It's what creates that unexplainable feeling in your stomach, and that feeling is the beginning of love. Another essential point: emotional intelligence. When you know how to identify your emotions and deal with them with maturity, you become a safe haven. And that's worth its weight in gold in a world where many men explode with anger, victimize themselves, or withdraw when faced with any frustration. An emotionally balanced man inspires peace. And emotional peace is an aphrodisiac for women who are tired of instability. In addition, being unforgettable also means knowing how to create moments. Not expensive moments, unique moments. A walk at night in silence, an unexpected but sincere compliment. A song played out of nowhere, a long hug, a touch on the arm at the right time. These little things are everything, because the heart doesn't store great things. The heart stores details, and the right details at the right time become eternal. And to conclude, be the man who brings out the best in her, who makes her feel more beautiful, more alive, more secure, more desired, more understood. Because in the end, people cling to those who make them feel closer to who they want to be. Do you want to be unforgettable? Then start by understanding what she needs to feel. And be the mirror that truly reflects the most beautiful version that exists within her. Because a man like that is never forgotten, ever.